Okay, I'm recording and I'm going to share my screen. Aha, there it goes.
Okay.
Okay. So welcome to our webinar on PsycTests and PsycBooks. These are two databases that we are running trials on currently, and I believe we have another week and some change to use them. So this is a way you can watch this and learn how to use both of these databases and get some ideas for how they might apply to your projects and coursework. So my name is Sadie, and this is Mr. Miner, and we are your librarians at California North State University. And so, yeah, we're going to show you how to use these. I'll start on the library website so you can figure out how to get to these sites. So from the, hopefully you can, so here, I'll start from the university page because hopefully you can get there. And then once you're on the university's website, you'll see a library resources tab right here in the corner. We'll take you to our webpage, and there's a lot of great things on here, but we'll go to databases, which is where PsycTests and PsycBooks are. And then from this databases page, there's always this tab at the bottom that says new or trial databases. And this is where if we're running a trial of some kind or we're testing out a new database, it'll be listed down here. So PsycBooks and PsycTests are both available under this tab here. So you can just scroll to this part and find them. We'll start with PsycTests and show you how to use that because that's a little bit more involved. And then we'll go to PsycBooks and cover some things there. So let's go to PsycTests. I'll warn you now, this cookie banner is going to pop up every 3 seconds. Every time that we click on, every time the page reloads, that banner is going to pop up. And that's just something we have to make peace with, and I can't change it. But this is the main search page for PsycTests. You have your search bar here in the middle. Your search history will pop up here at the top, and then your results will be displayed down below the search bar. Mr. Miner, do you have a search topic in mind? Or I can come up with one.
Well, let's just try a very broad one right now, and addiction.
Okay.
See what we could find on that topic.
Cool. Perfect. So I'm going to type in addiction into this search bar here, and we will see what search results we get. Notice that this is very similar to an article database or another database that you might have used. There's the cookie banner in the past from our website. So you'll see there's like a list of results here, and you can scroll through these and find different tests for different situations. The difference with, go ahead.
Sorry, if you go up to the top of the thing, you'll see under results that there are 323 results. So you can judge when you're doing your search whether that's too many for you to go through, in which case you may want to add a term, or if it's too few, then you might think about broadening your term.
Thank you. It's a good thing to add because, especially for tests, if you have a specific thing that you're testing for in mind, and often the test results, they'll be very specific, and they may not all be relevant to what you're actually looking for, and knowing how to narrow it down to the relevant test is going to be an important skill to have. If we scroll through, you'll see like some of them are about like supporting someone in addiction, or like being involved with someone who's in addiction, or like navigating different behaviors associated with addiction. There's a lot of different things that you can test. And we're also not psychologists, so if you're watching this and you're a psychology student, please know that you're going to be the expert on the psychology topics of this video. We're just
I minored in psychology.
Oh, that's great.
It.
Yeah. Forgot about that. So, okay. So here's an example. This number 2, addiction medicine training need assessment scale. I'll show you what happened. So first we'll go over what happens when you click on a test, because I think that'll be a good indicator of like what it is that's actually in these search results, and then we'll cover some ways that you can narrow your search and make it more specific for what you need. Okay, so if we click on this test here, so what happens now? We get this web page here, and this web page isn't the actual test yet. The actual test is here under Ovid database PDFs. So if I click on this, I'll go to the actual test where I can start looking at the questions that it has. I can actually give that to somebody, except I can't because I'm not a trained psychologist. But that's the actual test. This information here on the web page is very useful. It'll describe what the test is, and then it'll tell you what kinds of questions it has. Like this one says Likert scale. And it should also tell you how to administer the test. I'm trying to look for that here. But okay, it does tell you reliability and validity here.
Administration method says it's paper, so it's just a paper test.
And then notice there's like this age group listed here, so it tells you like, I assume that this is for who you could give the test to. And I was reading about this database too before like the meeting, because I kind of had to learn how to use this database. And apparently these tests are all tests that have been previously published in an article. And so it appears that they have been used before, like in another psychologist's research. So I'm wondering if this age group category is who they gave it to in that article, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. So this information here about the test is going to help you know what to do with it once you download the PDF. And that's very important, because using the test correctly is going to make sure that whatever you use it for, you can actually use in research or in a paper or in your dissertation. So another important thing on that note is that each test has different permissions. So about half of the tests that are in this database say that they just openly say you have permission to use this in research or in education. And then the other half of them say something like this: contact publisher. So if you want to use this test on another person, you have to contact the publisher of this test and ask them for permission. Let me see, who's the publisher of this test? Here's the citation. It was published in this journal, Substance Abuse. And then these are the authors. I wonder if there's like an author contact.
Yes, if you go down under affiliations and right above it, email for
Yeah, here we go.
WLJ Pinston.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Perfect. This is what I saw another person from APA PsycTests do. So yes, thank you. This email tab is what you want. You want to email this person here and express that you want to use this test and ask them for permission to do so. Perfect. Okay, so that is what a result looks like in APA PsycTests. So I'm going to go back to our search results. And now that I know more about what the search results look like, I want to narrow down these search results to the things that that are most relevant to me. So for one thing, I can select tests that just have the PDF test available in this database and just narrow it down to that already. I'm going to try there's a permissions tab as well, so you can find specific you can find only the tests that give you permission outright to use them. So I'm not seeing that on here.
Second column up, fifth down.
If I click on that. Okay. I thought it would tell me.
I believe if you click in the I, if you highlight it again and get the information there, it will tell you, may use for teaching research or research teaching.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. We did that very quickly, but yeah, Mr. Miner showed us. So if you click this I button, it says View Index. This is the index for permissions, so you can click. So it'll tell you these are the different categories of permissions for these tests, from contact author, contact publisher, publisher and author, or may use for research teaching. So I'm going to click may use for research teaching, and then at the top I'm going to select search for selected terms. I have that selected now. And now I'm going to re-enter addictions and see what comes up.
Or you can combine the first and, well, the second and third terms are the same, but you can combine your searches, search 1 and search 2, to get those articles on addiction whose permissions are set to may use for research teaching.
I think you have to be in the advanced search to do that.
Okay, you may be right.
Because if I click both of these, it doesn't let me click this but it'll do that if it's in the advanced search.
Thank you.
But here, I put addiction here, and then I put permissions here. I wanted to see, sorry guys, I also wanted to put PDF. I wanted the PDF button, but I don't know if that's in here. If not, I'll just go and, all right. I will hit search. No. Okay, I must have done something wrong there. let's do it this way. Let's go to advanced search. I'm gonna clear out these for my search history so that I don't get confused. I'm going to go, notice the basic search and the advanced search looks slightly different, but they're basically the same. I can type in addiction here and hit search, and I'll get search results. Now, if I go back here and make sure I have the permissions correctly, may use for teaching, search for selected terms. Now I have more search results here for addiction, but now I can combine may use for research teaching and addiction, like Mr. Miner was saying, and I can combine these searches. If you think about this, we want tests that discuss addiction and are available to use right away, right? So I'm gonna select both of these, and I'm going to combine them with the word and, because we only want results that include both of these. Okay, so now we have 550. I can go through, and as I scroll, I can be confident that these tests that I find that involve addiction in some way are available to use right away. There's other ways to narrow down your results. I think that this field section is really interesting. Like, I think you could narrow down by the specific test type that you're looking for. You've also got age group. If you know specifically, like, you're going to be working with a certain population, you can narrow down that way. So there's a lot of ways here that you can narrow down your results to get the most relevant and useful tests that you have. If you're wondering, like, what kinds of tests are available, because that's not necessarily clear just from searching for tests here, I'll pull up this tab. This is something that I found. This is from APA. APA owns PsycTests. I'm going to put this. Okay, I'll just open it. So the American Psychological Association is the group that made this database with PsycTests in it. So they have their own classification system that organizes these different tests. So you can look here and see all the way from 5,000 to 8,000. It goes up by hundreds. These are the different categories for which they have exams. And you can also select the different classification code that you're looking for to find all of the tests available, for example, on culture, racial, and ethnic identity, or mental health and illness related assessments. So you can find all of the tests that are just specific for that classification. The last thing here that I think would be helpful to look at is this term finder. This is specifically an Ovid tool that I think is very useful. But say that we've been looking at addiction this whole time. Let's see. If we throw that in the term finder, it's going to take a second to load. Okay, you can look at the same terms that APA has that might be more specific. So if you're having a hard time coming up with the exact right term to search in this PsycTest database, you can use this term finder to find what APA has chosen as a good keyword. and then you can choose that. So say, for example, oh, thank you. I was looking actually for behavioral addiction. You can add that to your search options. I would recommend adding as a keyword until you know. We can go over what explode and focus mean. I can provide some resources on that. It's a little bit of a tangent. I don't know. Maybe I should just explain. Okay, I don't know. Explode. So, it's just, I don't want it to be too confusing.
If I may, explode and focus basically refer to either making the term a broader term or a more narrow term. So if you're talking about addiction, and then we talk about, for instance, from the mapped results, shopping addiction, that would be a narrower term. It's a more focused term. But if we talk about addictions as a subfield of compulsive behavior, that would be a broader term. And that's what explode and focus help you to do.
Yeah, if you if you selected focus or explode here, it would include other terms that are related to behavioral addiction. If you clicked focus, it would only use behavioral addiction just by itself. And then if you add as a keyword, it just kind of bypasses that part of it, and you're just searching for it literally as a keyword, and you're ignoring this this term mapping that they have going on. It depends on how serious the search that you're doing is, and there's a lot of ways you can add it as focus. You can mess around and see what your search results bring, and there's no harm in that. I think it's great to spend 3 minutes, run through a search, see what happens. And the nice thing here is that your past searches will be saved in your search history. So if you're like, wait, I don't like what I just did, you can always go back to search number 2, click on it. Here, I'll close this, and then display the results for it. So you can always go back if you're like, wait, I don't. Oh, there we go. Okay. So for example, I'm like, wait, I don't like that. I might go, if I had searched behavioral addiction above, I might go back to a previous result that I have. Sorry, that's kind of a rabbit hole here. Let's go back to this tree here and select behavioral addiction. And let's try explode and see if that helps us. There we go. So now there's 510 search results displayed here, and I can go ahead and look through those. The term finder, though, I think it is very useful. It helps save you mental energy so that you can focus on looking at the text, which I think is very important. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pivot just to wrap up here for PsycTests. I want to show you a couple of things. So you can read more about, so APA has more information just about testing, who can do it, when you should do it, what the person who's being tested should know, and how to administer tests. So they have a lot of very useful information about tests that you won't necessarily find on PsycTests because they're giving you those tests. You can read about it in a couple other places too. This book chapter talks about, this is from the National Library of Medicine. We'll post this as like these links so that they're available to you. But I found this just on the National Library of Medicine website. But I thought this was interesting, just frequently performed tests. They give these little examples, and then kind of go through what they did for these patients. And then the classification system is good for knowing what tests are available. And I think it's important to know what you can test for. This is an important aspect of being a psychologist, is being able to provide these tests when asked. And not, you have to have the right training and the licensing to do this. So not everybody can just provide a test like this. This is like a niche aspect of your training. It's important and it's a valuable thing in the field. And then the last thing is that there are other, notice this was what I was looking at, administering the test requires permission, and about half of them give you permission outright, but for the rest you have to contact the author or the publisher. So, but there's more videos that you can watch on your own time on using like PsycTests or PsycInfo. I think that there's a lot of really great content in here that will be relevant to you. So there's more help if you need it. And of course, we're available to help. So you can always ask us for help too. Perfect. Okay. Is there anything else we should do in PsycTests before we go to PsycBooks, or?
I think we've covered most everything. If you want to try just throwing in another term just to see kind of how that displays, we could try something like childhood trauma. And
yeah, let's do that.
Put that in and just to see how it displays and what we're looking at. I would also note that some of these tests are not available full text or with the full instrument through this database. It may say contact library. It's very difficult to get tests if they're not already in the database. We will try, but I would, the chance of success may be very low.
Yeah, it may take us more time than the normal turnaround to get a test back to you. Like we would likely have to search around for a library that has it, and that would take some more time than normal.
And that would be willing to provide it.
Right.
Or we would probably want to contact the publisher itself, in which case we would suggest you do that directly to save time.
Yeah. So here I'll search this. I'm using the advanced search so I could combine it with something if I wanted to. Notice there's 59 tests here. Perfect. This first one automatic. So I'm happy that this first one shows multiple types of childhood trauma. One thing I was worried about was getting search results that just say trauma or just say childhood and say something else. But we will scroll through here and see what results we get. And some of these discuss other things. So the early trauma inventory. I like early trauma. That's another way to describe childhood trauma. That might be, an early trauma might be what psychologists in the field are that might be the phrase of choice there. Okay, so this is a test that's been adapted from a different questionnaire. So this childhood trauma questionnaire may be more what you're looking for if this is your search topic or your research focus. And then there's also, it also consists of these subscales, childhood traumatic event scale and recent traumatic event scale. So that's interesting. Guilt and shame questionnaire. Difficult childhood questionnaire. This is interesting. Again, it really comes down to what you are looking to test specifically. So I think looking at these search results will show you what you can test for, and that might affect your research in some way. But I think looking at what you can test for is going to be important. And you may not, you may have like this, you may have this dream of testing for a specific thing, and there may not be a test for that exact thing. Although there are a lot of tests in here, so I imagine you can find a good test that is relevant to you. Yeah, there's a lot of good things on here. And again, you click on the test, and then you can read about it and learn how to administer it to someone else. And then this one, we didn't specify, but this one says may use for research or teaching. Okay, cool. For now, I think we'll leave it at that. But if you have any questions about what we covered in this, please ask us. We are happy to clarify or look at your specific research and go through a search related to what you're looking for. So do not hesitate to ask for help. Now we're going to pivot to PsycBooks and look for some book chapters there. Hopefully this is a little bit more intuitive. We do have other book collections, and even some of the databases, like the article databases that we have, provide book chapters. So hopefully this isn't too different from what you've looked at before. Let me see. I do have, I thought I had pulled it up, but here I can look for it again. I'll just Google it. APA PsycBooks. This will bring it up. Complete list of titles. So if you're curious what's in here and you're not sure what to search for, rather than, so here I clicked on PsycBooks and it opened this tab. It's the same search bar as that we had before. Rather than search here, which you can totally do, you could look at this coverage list and browse the titles that are available. They're listed here by year, published. So, but I think it's good to be comfortable searching for things and just trying to find different books that are available. Mr. Miner, do you have a topic you can provide?
Why don't we see if we can find something on microaggressions?
Okay. Oh, I should back up. I apologize. I was on the advanced search here. And if I go to the basic search, here we can just try the basic search first. The advanced search, if we remember, it's a little bit different as this bigger search bar. And when I go to if I just hit enter, it'll take me to the term finder mapped tree thing that we just looked at before. If you just hit, if you hit continue and you look at your results, usually you'll have a little bit more if you use the advanced search and their term finder. So I didn't explain. I apologize. But yeah, the search, it opened to the advanced search, and then it went through the term finder and microaggressions is still what we're looking at here. Okay, so let's see what we've got. I'm sorry if you, can you hear what's going on next door to me? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's something exciting going on next door. Okay. So as we scroll through the results here, notice that that's annoying. But you can click on the PDF button to read the book, and it'll just go straight to the PDF here. This actually might be a book chapter. And if I look at the results, you can click, and then also you can click on, I forgot which one I was on. You can read about, so here we go. This chapter takes a different approach on dealing with microaggressions. Oh, cool. It gives you a classification code. Okay, and then it tells you what book it's a part of. And then you can click here and read the PDF. That's something that I didn't anticipate. So if you look at the coverage title, the coverage list here, it's only going to give you book titles. But if you search in the database, you're going to pull up different chapter titles. And you may not know that a certain book is relevant until you see a specific chapter within it. That just hadn't occurred to me. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting chapters in here. Anything I should elaborate on for this?
I think we're good. Do you want to try jumping just to another topic just to see more of the variety of books that are out there? Because we could try something like implicit bias or implicit bias in the workplace.
Here, we'll try this. We'll try implicit bias, and then we'll try workplace and try combining them. Oh, I didn't hit continue. Ah, okay. We have two. Interesting. Okay. So if this is my search topic, I might look at this and get discouraged because I was hoping to have all these incredible book chapters to read about implicit bias. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to. I see my two results and I'm thinking, there's got to be something else to do here. So I'm going to go to the term finder. I'm first going to look at bias and see what terms they have related to bias. I might not be looking at exactly the right thing here. There's cognitive bias. Bias as a response, hindsight. Interpretive bias. Let's view these really different. I don't love these. Let me go back. I might take a look at interpretive bias. And you know what you can also do, you don't have to just guess if this is what you're looking for. The scope note will define the term for you and tell you what it includes. See, this is more specific than I was thinking it was. This is related to anxiety. Again, this is also where being a psychologist or a psychology student helps a little bit more. Mr. Miner might be looking at me like, wait a second. Here we go. Implicit bias. Let's look at the scope note. Implicit attitudes. Oh, okay. It looks like,
note,
yeah.
The date of entry for the term was 2019, which tells us that APA was only using it as a cataloging term since 2019. Before that, it looks like, yes, they were using implicit attitudes from 2015 to 2019. So you might want to search for both of those terms. And if you go to the tree, the APA tree, it probably will give you some more information. It's a sub in cognitive bias. Implicit bias is a subfield of cognitive bias, which is in turn a subfield of cognitive processes.
Thank
So
you. Yes.
you can explode the cognitive bias with the little plus sign to show you some of the other related biases. So hindsight bias, interpretive bias, attentional bias, and confirmational bias. So it's, those are related, and they may be kind of what you're looking for or may be helpful in your search.
Yeah, I think I haven't tried this here before, but I believe you can add, so if you wanted to include implicit attitudes, and then we can just leave it at this: implicit bias here, and implicit attitudes. Add this to the, we will explode that one, add that. And then I'm going to add this to the search, but I'm just going to focus because I only want this and not the related terms. And I'm going to select or, and if that makes sense here, with this, we're trying to expand our search, right? So Mr. Miner just kind of explained it more eloquently, but we want implicit attitudes or implicit bias or implicit bias as it relates to cognitive bias, right? So, oh, hey. So we're going to
Welcome,
hi,
Matthew.
Yeah, hi. I'm gonna hit search really fast because we're just in the middle of hitting search, and then I'm gonna close this term finder, and then we'll check in with you. So we've got or between all of our keywords here. We're gonna hit search. And now we have 4 results.
4 instead of 2.
We have doubled our search results. But this is at least helpful. Okay. Implicit attitudes can be measured. So now we have, this is a book chapter that I would like to read. Cool. Okay. Hi, Matthew. Is there a search that, or like a research topic that you have that you want to look for content on?
At the moment, not specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in and see kind of how you approach, I guess, looking for searches and stuff like that, and see if I can kind of carry that through.
Well, we're looking at our 2 databases, one of which is books, and the other are test test instruments. So is there one or the other that you're interested in? Because we're searching books right now, but we can always go back and search tests some more and then kind of give you some examples.
I think right now books probably is the best. I will say that I do need to leave soon. I just wanted to pop in and see if I can grab a little bit of information, but yeah.
Absolutely. We're happy to help. Sadie, do you want to kind of redo real quick
Yeah.
about books? Yeah.
So here we'll start from I'm going to start from our library webpage. Matthew, you've seen this page before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So to get to APA PsycBooks, I start from here. I go to databases, and then there's a section on this main database list page that says new or trial databases, and PsycBooks and PsycTests are listed here. So you can access PsycBooks from that page. And then from there, so there's a couple ways to find books that you're interested in. We were kind of talking about that a little bit. You can look, APA has a list. So, because the database is called APA PsycBooks, APA has a list of the titles that are included in this database. So you can look at the different titles that are available, and then you can also, if you search, that might help you know like what you might want to search for. But if you search for a specific topic, it'll bring up books and book chapters. So it's you'll find more results if you search a topic. But you can look both ways. Is there something like in class that you have like a paper on, or something that's like, even if you're not working on it right this second? Or like a...
You know what? I can't draw anything right now.
That's okay. We could look at... Yeah, go ahead.
We looked at implicit bias and microaggressions. Did we look at childhood trauma?
Not in... Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if maybe that,
Not
just
here.
play with it. We looked at test instruments on childhood trauma, but not books. And wow, 11,364. So lots of books. So what we could do is look at some of these books that we think may be particularly relevant. We might skip the first one because it deals just with Palestinian children, but maybe the second one for school-based mind-body interventions. And if we click on it, we'll get the record. And this will suggest to us, in reading the abstract, you'll notice that it highlights where the words childhood and trauma are used in the abstract. So that gives you a good idea of whether it's really kind of relevant. And then if you go down to the subject headings, you'll see what the PsycBooks database is using as subject headings. And you might want to refine your search by, looking at childhood development or emotional trauma, or one of these topics, or integrating them into your search.
Yeah. You can access the PDF of this here on the side, Ovid database PDFs, and start reading. Yeah, and especially, so I think where Mr. Mine and I see students running into trouble is kind of at this stage where you don't know what to do next. And that's what looking at those subject terms is really useful for, because it's hard to know what to do with 11,000 results. And it's hard to know exactly how to make it more relevant. And, but it's totally possible. And the database is set up to help you do that with the subject terms. So you could, we could search something more specific. And it has things on the side here too. But we could search, like, so we were using the advanced search or the basic search. If we go over to the advanced search or even the multi-field search, we could narrow down the results by looking for more things. Like we could, like here. So for example, if we tried like emotional trauma, it's going to go through the term finder and match it to what APA uses. And then if we search, I forgot what the other term was. It was like a childhood growth or something like that. Here, if we look in the term finder, it'll tell us childhood. Childhood development was what, and childhood adversity, adverse childhood experiences. These are all things I think would be relevant. If we just go to this here, add to search. Okay, so notice there's 2,500 results for childhood development, 455 for emotional trauma. We can combine those with and see if that's what they have in common. And now we have 10 books or book chapters that we can look at that discuss childhood development and emotional trauma. And, you know, there may be like, I don't know, you may look at this and go, oh, there's a different way to describe the trauma other than emotional trauma that might bring more results. But this is, I think this is the crucial step, is being able to go from this 1,100 or 11,000 results down to 10, and like being able to, if that's too few, then now, okay, let's look at the different kinds of trauma that could come from childhood development and maybe broaden that a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Helpful.
Do you have any questions?
No. This is helpful.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
And we've thrown a lot at you, so
Yeah.
feel free to contact either Ms. Davenport or myself and say, hey, you know, could you repeat that, or could you go through this again? Because it's a complex database and can be very complex topics. So we're happy to reiterate or reimagine what we've said.
Definitely.
Sounds good. I appreciate the quick run through.
Yeah.
I did also hear that this is being recorded. Will you be sharing this?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it'll be available for people to watch. And then we also showed some links in the video, and we'll post those links as well, so it's all available to look at.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. I do
Yeah.
need to be heading off to my next thing, so
And
appreciate you
it's
doing
12
this.
o'clock, and we probably had better wrap up this session. Thank you,
Yeah.
Matthew, for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. Look forward to seeing you guys around. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Go ahead.
Excellent. Do you have any kind of closing comments on these databases?
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. So if you've made it this far, that's awesome, first of all. There's a couple of things here. So we are running these trials to decide if these should be additions to our library. So if you do find these databases useful, or you use them and there's something that you notice, please give us feedback. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be in between, whatever. But the more that we know about how you interact with these databases, that is useful information for us as librarians, because we just want to give, if we could, we would give you all of the resources ever, but we have to be selective. and we're trying to choose what we think is best with input from your professors and from other people. So if you find these, whatever experience you have with these databases, feel free to share it with us in an email, or we'll send out we're going to send out a form stack link so that you can provide anonymous feedback if you'd rather just share your experience without personal information. So, but having that information and just knowing what it's like to use these for you that's what information we want to know. Okay, so I guess I have two last things. As far as these databases go, these databases are considered to have content that's useful for all psychologists. So I would so at least if you browse what's in these databases, hopefully you'll find things that are of interest to you. And one thing that we did here is that you can see like what information is like valuable that psychologists provide for the public. So hopefully the content in here does provide, like, especially these tests. We hope that you look at those and you can see that there's like a lot that psychologists have to offer as health professionals. And yeah. The last thing that I wanted to share is just what you can expect from us after this video ends. So we will make this recording available for people to view afterward. It's a long video. We could post it to YouTube, or I think we can make it available in Teams to watch. Either way, it will be available for you to watch. It will be available for you to watch for as long as this trial is going. So you can watch this video. The links that we showed you, like the coverage list and the classifications, we will make that available to you as well. So the links that we shared today, here, I guess I'll stop sharing my screen. But the links that we made available today will also be available in the same place as the recording so that you can access those links on your own. The last thing is that we'll send a follow-up email next week sharing a form stack link so that you can provide feedback in some form if that is something you're interested in doing. So yeah, hopefully that's not way too much information, and we hope you're excited to use these databases.
We thank you so much for your time, and again, reach out to us with any comments that you have.
Okay. All right, let's stop